When most people prepare for deer hunting season, they sight their rifle in and practice from as good a rest as they can, which normally involves a bench and maybe even a sandbag to steady their shot to be as accurate as possible. However, when we go hunting, we don't have that luxury, and many times we have to use whatever we can find. It may be a dirt bank, it may be a rock, it may be a tree limb, but you need to take advantage of whatever you can, as long as you don't rest it against the barrel of the gun and use it against the wood. Anything that can steady your position will make you shoot more accurately. So we must practice the 4 basic shooting stances: standing, kneeling, sitting, and prone. We're going to start today by talking about the standing position. The standing position has the advantage of getting you higher elevation to see over obstacles, rocks, and vegetation, but at the same time, it's the least steady of all the positions. It is quick, so if you are surprised that you find what you're hunting for, the deer, for example, and you don't have time to find a better position. So to start with, we want to try to stand at a 45-degree angle from our target with our feet about shoulder width apart. When we're carrying our gun in the two-handed position then, we want to bring the muzzle up and look at the target. Don't ever look at the gun. Look at the target and put the muzzle on the target and then bring the stock up to your shoulder. We need to make sure that the butt is in the pocket of your shoulder, not too far out. Next, you want to make sure that your gun hand grip is good and firm with your finger going along the side of the gun and not inside the trigger guard until you're ready to shoot. And then your offhand needs to be cradling the forearm. Many people prefer to point their finger at the target. Actually, it helps them with aiming. You need to make sure that you have a good cheek weld here on your stock where your face meets the stock, and must make sure that you have the proper eye relief from the scope. If you get too close, the recoil can cause the scope to hit you in the face. We want to be leaning a little bit forward and the shoulder a little forward. Now, sometimes target shooters will actually move back and place their elbow on their stomach, and that may be fine for target shooting and shooting .22 long rifles, but with a heavier recoiling gun, you don't have any ability to absorb the recoil in your shoulder. Okay, once we assure that we have eye and ear protection, we're going to go ahead and take a shot. Here you go, Sierra. She's assuring that she has her 45-degree angle. She looks at the target as she brings the gun up, gets the proper position, disengages the safety, and she takes a partial breath, holds it shortly, and presses the trigger, and then she doesn't move for a couple of seconds after she takes the shot, opening the bolt and leaving it safe until she's ready to shoot again. The next position we're going to talk about is the kneeling position. It's a little more stable because you're closer to the ground and you're actually going to have 3 points of contact with the ground. It does put you closer to the ground so you don't have the elevation, and it takes a little longer to get into, but it does offer some more stability, and it is quicker than the next positions we will talk about. So for our kneeling position, once again, we want to stay bladed about 45 degrees. We want to put our gun side knee on the ground. Make sure that you're angled so that your offside knee is directly between your eye and the target. Some people can sit on their foot flat, and some people will sit on their heel. This is a lot to do with your personal build and how limber you are in your joints. Then we'll bring the gun up just like standing, except now we have the ability to rest our elbow of the offside on our knee. We want to make sure that we either position the knee on the back of the arm or the elbow behind the knee, depending on your build. You may be able to get in this position, or go ahead and extend it in front of the knee to this position. What we do not want to do is put the bone of our elbow on the bone of our knee, because bone on bone is going to be unsecure. We also want to angle so that the gun is directly on top of, or as close to, on top of the elbow as possible. If we start to bring our arm over and hold the gun up here, we have a lot more muscle working that'll get tired. But if we stack it straight on top, it will be much more secure. The shoulder position, the cheek weld, is all exactly the same. What you need to do to get this position is to get in the position with your eyes closed, bring the gun up to where it's comfortable in the kneeling position, and open your eyes. If you are off and not on your target, then you need to reposition your whole body. Don't just twist your upper body, but reposition how you're sitting on the ground. If it's a little bit off, say if you're only 6 or 8 inches off to the right, then you can move your offside toe in the direction you want the muzzle to be aimed, and it will move the point of impact. So go ahead and get in the position and move your toe to the left, and that will move the point of impact or point of aim to the left. Move it back to the right, and you will move to the right. This is good for minor adjustments, but again, it's crucial in this in all positions to try to establish a natural point of aim by getting into the position, and if it's not where it needs to be, move your entire body, get up and start over so that you're not in a strain when you're trying to shoot. The next position that we'll talk about is the sitting position. It's a common position for somebody to be in under a tree or in the bushes while they're hunting. There are 3 variations of this position. The first one would be with the feet apart. And one of the basic principles that we talked about with kneeling applies here too. You don't want to put your elbows on your kneecaps. The position of the stock with your both hands and the cheek weld is exactly the same as with the rifle, and your elbows you want to be on the thigh or the inside of your thigh. Another variation is to cross the ankles, depending on your body shape and what is comfortable for you. And then the other is just to cross your legs completely up under you. Again, in all 3 positions, the elbows stay off of the kneecaps and remain on the inside of the thigh or the muscle. The last position we're going to talk about is the prone position. It's the slowest of the positions to acquire, but it's also the most stable by far, because now you've placed your whole body on the ground. You got a lot of points of contact with very stable position. It does have the disadvantages of being very low, and therefore even small vegetation and grass could obscure your sight picture. First thing we need to consider is getting into the position. It does take some time, and we need to do it safely. So the first thing you want to do is get into the kneeling position and ground your rifle in front of you. Then, with both hands on the ground, lay down at a 45-degree angle to the target. Now this will vary for a lot of people depending on how you're going to wind up. But again, you'll want to find that natural point of aim. Your legs can be spread out, or a lot of people like to bend the offside knee. That helps rotate the body up a little bit on the shooting side hip. That makes it more comfortable for some people. Then you want to get pretty much like the kneeling position, where you've angled yourself so that the gun is as close as can be over the top of your offside elbow. Both elbows are placed on the ground, and the gun is placed in the shoulder, and everything else is exactly the same as in the standing and kneeling position. Okay, the hasty sling is just a position that you can use very quickly with the standard simple sling that a lot of people use on their rifles to steady the gun, in addition when you don't have anything to rest it on. So what you need to do, you can quickly just run your offside hand through the sling, wrap one time around your forearm, and then come back in and grasp the forearm of the gun, and then acquire either the shooting positions, any of the shooting positions that we talked about. And what it does is it assists in locking the gun into place. And it only takes a couple of seconds to get in and out of. There are a number of accessories available that you can buy. One would be a bipod that actually attaches to the gun and gives an extremely stable platform to shoot. They're very lightweight and they're very quickly deployable. They also adjust and come in a variety of lengths for prone or kneeling, and also shooting sticks can be used the exact same way. The only disadvantage is they're not connected, but they are more versatile in a lot of ways. Whether you choose to buy one of these accessories, use a tree limb or a rock or a dirt berm, you need to practice with each of those. And always practice those 4 basic fundamental positions of standing, kneeling, prone, and sitting, so that you can make that shot count when you have nothing to assist you.